Cotton's starting to go white. Let's see if I get a dry hit or not. Very little vapour coming out, and that cotton has essentially went white. They've done a very good job with the temp control on this. Very good job. Let's pull this out and see what kind of state the cotton's in, mind you. Yep, little bit of darkening right in the middle of the cotton, but that's to be expected because that's where the middle of the coil is. I am very impressed with the temp control on this. Very impressed. Right.
Fantastic.
We'll pop this off. And what we'll do now is we'll pop on the goon, and the goon has got a couple of Aries, JJ, Staple, Stagger, Fuse, Clapton sitting in it, as always.
Wow, it's really great.
Oh, that was a close one. Yeah, I've made it a habit to check if I've got actual juice in the dripper before I do these 200 watt tests. Right, there we go. That should do it. Right, 200 watts on the goon. 1, 2, 3. Into mode. Then head up to power. Mode again. And then just crank it. These coils are coming out at 0.13 ohms. 200 watts. Although it doesn't look as bad, I don't think this is going to be 200. I don't think it is. Okay, let's give it a go. 200 watts. Bloody hell. Okay, it's not quite at the searing hot level as the G class is, but this is getting close. This is getting close. Oh, that is hot though. 185. 185, that's what I'm guessing. Right, it's not quite at that level, but it's hot, folks. It's definitely hot. I'm guessing 185. That's what I'm thinking. Right, pop the DigiFlavor Siren version 2 on. 1 ohm coil sitting in here. And we'll head down to 16 watts. $16 watts, and we're off again. And as you can hear, absolutely no noise coming from the mod itself. So there we go, folks. That was an up close of the Joyetech Espion. We'll cover the little tank first now. This is the second coil in the tank, and the reason I didn't vape on it on cam is I've already used up the first coil in this for testing, but I've packed the tank away with its extra coil just in case I decide to give this thing away in one of the WhatsApps next month. So the first coil I ran through this, it plows. It guzzles juice. If you're going to be using this tank, expect to fill it a lot. I mean, a lot. I'm also going to say one other thing about this tank as well. Don't run it like that with airflow control fully open, because it's way too airy and you're losing a lot of flavour. What I did with this tank with the one coil that I ran, and that one coil did actually last a good 2.5 weeks, roughly speaking. In fact, I started using this the second day after the Joyetech Espion came in. That's when I filled up the tank with the first coil and just used it for about 2.5 weeks it lasted. But then again, I don't use a lot of sweetener, if any, in my e-liquids. The only sweetener you'll find in the e-liquids I mix is the sweetener that's already been included with the flavouring itself. But I usually run the tank like that. Airflow control half closed for a slightly more restrictive lung hit, and it brings out the flavour. Pardon me, it brings out the flavour a hell of a lot more. If you run this with airflow control fully open, it'll be clouds for days, but bugger all flavour. So just watch that when you're going to be using this tank. Moving on to this interesting bit of kit. Niggly points with this. There is one niggly point, but it's been fixed for the second batch retail run. I don't know if you're noticing this, but the screen is tilted just a little bit, just slightly leaning to one side, and it annoys the crap out of me whenever I'm using this thing. You can actually see it. There's a big black border going on down there. But if you look here, the edge of the screen at the top is starting to cut off because the whole screen is tilted just a little bit to one side. Now, apparently that happened with a couple of the first batch, first production runs, the ones that are normally sent out to reviewers. But that full production run is the run that goes out to retail. And I've been told by Joytech that this only showed up on a couple that were sent out to reviewers. The retail run, they've made sure the screen's on straight.